The Justice.
Well,
Speaking of the Justice League, so I want to take a second to talk about this. Ray hasn't seen The Flash yet, but he doesn't care about spoilers. So we're going to talk about it. So brace yourself. I'll ask you for feedback, obviously, because we talked about it already. But I do have a quite extensive list of things that I want to talk about for The Flash. So let's just talk about what I liked about The Flash, because that's what I like to do. What we liked, what we disliked. So I'll start by saying that I don't feel that the movie is a train wreck. Like, it's fun. It feels more Marvel-y, like lighter, even though the story's not supposed to be light, but it feels kind of more comedic, let's call it.
it looks very
So,
bright.
yeah, brighter. So the opening act is actually pretty cool. Like CGI aside, they show how fast Barry is. And I thought it was cool. So spoilers, massive spoilers ahead, but he's ordering a sandwich and the dude's like, bro, you can't rush a good sandwich. So he's making a sandwich. So in the time the dude makes the sandwich or begins to make the sandwich, Barry's able to go from Star City, where he is, to Gotham, saves a bunch of babies and a nurse from falling from a skyscraper that's collapsing, speeds to Batman and helps him get one of the Falcone family members that has like a toxic chemical weapon, meets I won't tell you who there, but they meet someone else there, and he runs back to Central City, to Central City, and his sandwich is barely getting done. So like, just so
That's
you
dope.
can comprehend, like how fast the fastest man alive truly is.
Yeah, he means Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Like
Spoil it up.
the scene of rescuing the stuff was cool. Like he rescues some babies, a dog, and again, showing the speed and the planning. It shows how smart he is. He does certain things to put things into place so that he can then do it all at one time. Again, in super fast motion. We'll get to how that looks in a second. Michael Keaton he doesn't miss a beat in this movie as Batman. Dog. By far the best part of the movie. In a Flash movie, Batman is the best part of the movie. I mean, Batman takes over most movies, but this is supposed to be a Flash story. And
All he does is win, baby. That's it.
um,
Ezra Miller's a loser anyway, so
by far the best part of the movie. I love that he was the best part of the movie, but I also kind of hate it because it's supposed to be a Flash movie. But he killed it. At the end of this movie, there's so many scenes with him in it. So for both me and Ray, we believe that Ben Affleck's Batman was a more legit interpretation of who Batman is as a skilled fighter. Just the brutality of it.
tactician.
They do a really good job in this movie showing Michael Keaton's version. Like is fire. Like I might go as far as saying that Keaton's Batman is now like my favorite version fighting of Batman, which is insane because Ben Affleck's Batman was amazing. I will say Affleck's Batman still feels more brutal because he feels meaner, but overall the stuff that they had Michael Keaton's Batman do was absolutely fire.
So legit Batman shit.
Legit. Sasha Kaye as Supergirl murdered it. Like she's not in the movie a lot because by the time they get her, like we're halfway through the movie, and then she's kind of around for the climax. But she's a badass. They show her strength really well, and more importantly, she's nothing like Clark. Like,
oh no,
her anger is in full display. Like when Zod tells her that he killed Clark as a baby, she is pissed and just she's no match for them because there's more of them than her. But it shows you like the CW Kara was too nice. Like she's just too nice.
Terrible.
This Supergirl, so much so that she's saying she's in talks with DC to continue being Supergirl, which is cool. But that being so different from Clark is important. That's a part of the character. And I thought they murdered that.
Yeah, because you don't need two Supermen.
Oh, why would I need somebody that's a goody two shoes, overpowered
Kara don't hold back.
No, she's something else. Young Barry. Barry was cool. So we get two Barrys. Everyone knew that was going to happen. You get the Barry that we know, the twitchy one. That's super annoying. Not a fan of. But young Barry grew up with both of his parents because our Barry saves his mom, yada, yada. So that Barry is slightly less annoying. He's not twitchy. He's more social. He has friends. He feels more like Barry Allen, not like someone that's been secluded and doesn't talk to nobody. A lot of energy, no patience, which, as you can imagine, will play a big role in the movie. But it gives you an opportunity to feel like older Barry is more mature and experienced, and you kind of get that feeling, which I thought was cool. How do you say? Do you say cameos? Do you say camos? Like what's cameo, the proper
cameo?
So the multiverse at the climax of the movie is pretty cool. They show it different. They show kind of like different worlds and within the Speed Force, like you can see them at a distance. But it's cool. You see basically all the Supermen CGI though, right? They're not like Henry Cavill's not in the movie. It's just a CGI version of him, his likeness.
Yeah.
You see, this is not a spoiler because they talked about it, but you see Nick Cage as Superman. You see all the Supergirls. You see Jay Garrett. It was cool. It was cool to see all of that. Like the world's kind of coming together, all the Batmans, as they're living and fighting in their worlds.
So what was one of the other Batman you were telling me? You want to tell me?
Oh, so at the end, so Barry realizes he can't save his mom, right? So the main villain is the Dark Flash. It's Barry in the future that's been going back in time over and over and over, trying to save his mom, but also make sure no one else dies in the process from the Justice League, for example. That's what it's supposed to be. So he ends up having to fight himself, which whatever. Missed opportunity. I'll get into that in a second.
Stupid.
So the Dark Flash is kind of the villain, but he's in the movie for like 3 minutes, which is weird. So when he decides like, oh yeah, we can't do this, right? We have to go back and change it. Like we have to go back and let her die. So then she goes and that happens, but he does change something because when it's his dad's trial and he's trying to exonerate his dad. So instead of saving his mom, he makes his dad look up so that his face is on a camera to give him an alibi. But it's the butterfly effect, right? Like you change something else is going to change. So that slight change changed the world he came back to. And the change that we did see was, you're going to love this. So the change that we did see is when he gets back, he gets a call from Bruce. And Bruce is like, hey, congratulations. So he's like, hey, I'm pulling up. Let's chat. So he pulls up. And reporters are swarming the car. This should kind of give it away. More Playboy aspect of it. Bruce gets out the car, walks up to him. Who is it?
I don't know.
George Clooney. Batman and Robin Batman has entered the building.
That's cool though.
And then he was like, you're not Bruce. And he's like, Barry, what are you talking about? With that big ass smile. He's the more Playboy Batman. And that's kind of how it ends. There's an after credit scene. I thought it was cool. What I didn't like, Ezra Miller, we never really liked him. I was hopeful for him at the beginning because he's a huge fan of the content. Like he was like, I'm a huge Flash fan. And when that happens, typically you feel the heart in it and it goes well. See Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. But I just can't stand him, dog. First off, he's a grimy human being. He's over here doing shit they shouldn't be doing. I don't like his version of Barry. He's too twitchy, too much of a loner. I get you have to make it different, but it never felt real. It felt weird. And then mainly his running annoys me. Like he still has to get set to run. And it's a creative decision to do that. It's like they do it on purpose. And I know they've talked about it, but I know that it's on purpose because one, they make fun of it in the movie when he loses his speed. He's trying to run and he's doing that without the graphics. And I'm like, that's how you fucking run with them. Like I said that out loud. People are laughing at the movie theaters. Like it's awful. But young Barry doesn't do that. Young Barry just runs. He doesn't set up, which weird. But the decision to make him Hispanic. Why are we again, like we've talked about diversity over and over. It feels like weekly. Barry Allen is not Hispanic, nor does he need to be Hispanic. It doesn't really make sense. I get
Ezra Miller ain't Hispanic.
I get that we don't like whatever universe the DCU is in probably isn't the main universe, right? Like it's just like Marvel. It's an alternate and you can do whatever you want, but it's just not necessary. Like Blue Beetle's coming. We have some representation already in the DCU or the future DCU. Like I feel like it's just a cheap addition of diversity. You didn't need to do that, which is weird. And again, he's a piece of shit in general. The CGI is the most interesting part of this because it was supposedly the director says they did it on purpose.
I feel like that's a lot.
So it probably is a lot. But so the reason so it's awful. The CGI is not great. Especially the scene. I like the scene that I told you at the beginning with the babies, the dog, and the nurse. It was a cool scene, but the CGI is still bad. Like it looked bad, but the scene itself worked. But he claims that they wanted to show us when Barry's moving at high speeds, the world looks different to him. So they wanted to show us what the world looked like to Barry. Spoiler alert, the world looked awful to Barry when he's not a good world. Ever. Not a good world. And then finally, the story, man. You know, like, even if you don't watch the comic books and you watch just the animated movies, like if you're not reading comic books or you don't know the Flash story or Flashpoint in general, this is supposed to be the one of, if not the most epic Flash storyline, right? Like the scale and magnitude of Flashpoint is insane. Like we talk about the butterfly effect in the movie, they explain the multiverse in a different way than you've seen it explained. Bruce throws some spaghetti into a bow and he was like, basically each one of these strands is a version of reality. So like some of them are parallel to each other. Some of them intersect. Some of them never intersect. So when they intersect, that means that there are moments or people that are the same. So it's just like a convoluted. It was a cool explanation, something new, right? I like that too. But in the story, like there's just so much potential. So just go watch Flashpoint Paradox if you don't want to read any comic books. But ultimately, Barry saves his mom and changes the past so much that the future is so fucked up that an entire timeline can no longer exist because of his changes. So in this movie, he goes back to save his mom, and we never see who killed his mom. Never talked about, never seen. It's not even in the story, dog. He saves her by putting a can of tomatoes that she forgot in her at the grocery store, so his dad never leaves and she doesn't die. But we don't get to see the Reverse Flash. It's not mentioned who kills his mom. Like it's just nothing. It was nothing.
I don't want to see this movie anymore.
So like love Michael Keaton. I love him. It like the movie, that Batman is just phenomenal. But like in the story, you see, you know, Thomas Wayne is there. You don't see Batman. You see Thomas Wayne's version of Batman. Cyborg is working for the government. The Amazonians and the
Atlanteans
are going to war. Like the scope of this story is insane. Like the world is falling apart because Barry Allen wanted to save his mom. You don't get none of that. Like none of it. He saves his mom. He's starting to run back. Dark Flash pushes him out. And then now it turns into a story of the Kryptonians are here looking for Kara because they've already killed Clark. And then that's basically it. They realize they can't beat the Kryptonians without Superman. So he tries to go back into the past to not save his mom anymore. It was a speck of what this should have been.
Sounds awful.
And it annoys the hell out of me. So at the end of the day, like
stupid plot. The movie sucks.
So I won't say it sucks. I think like if you don't know the source material or if you're not invested in the Flash or know what Flashpoints is, you'll probably watch it and be like, this movie's cool. It's a fun, definitely not the best superhero movie ever made. I don't know whoever the hell said that was on some real good shit watching this movie. But you will like it. If you are a casual movie fan or only watch movies for superheroes, I think you would probably give this movie a 7 or an 8. I think that would be valid. I give it a 5 or a 6. So like that's just where I'm at. But a lot of it has to do knowing how much they left out and how much they messed this movie up. So
dude, that's what I like. So okay, let's name let's say, trying to think something. A Plastic Man. Take all the liberties in the world you want.
Right, yeah, like a
but
smaller
there's
hero.
Some people you can't take liberties with. And Flash is one of them, man. And now that I'm taking my head, I'm not going to see this movie until I could like rent it on the TV.
I think it's going to be, honestly think it's going to be rentable in like less than a couple of weeks because it's doing horrible. I'm going to
go on a rant for a second, man. Ezra Miller's trash as Flash. DC's trash for casting as Flash. DC's trash for keeping him as Flash. And DC's trash for ruining the Flash. Okay? The Flash is not some creep, weirdo kid who don't have friends, not some emo, twitchy loser. Okay? He's a forensic cop who works for the police, talks to people all the time, and who's awesome at being the Flash. And he don't go like this every time he's about to run.
So bad.
So stupid. And what don't make sense to me, he moves that fast, but you got to get in a racing stance. Dog, when Flash wants to move, you don't see him. Phew, he's gone. This motherfucker. Like, what? I don't want to see this movie. And then, like you said, they make Dark Flash and him fighting himself. Where are you guys getting this shit from, man? Like, dude, you got a reasonable, dope bad guy, Peter Barton. He hates the Flash and wants to ruin his life forever. That's his main goal, to ruin his life until the day he's dead. And you couldn't put him in the movie for 3 minutes, but you make this bullshit up. So we got to see 3 terrible actors. You got to see this non-acting 3 times. You got to loop.
The Dark Flash is older. He's been doing it for decades, like running in the same, basically in this time loop for decades. So when you see him and his mask falls off, he's like a 70-year-old Ezra Miller. So it's interesting, but whatever.
Y'all put trash on the screen 3 times in one movie. That is insane.
I mean, it's doing horrible. I feel like the audience score is pretty high because of what I said, right? If you're a casual fan, it's a fun summer movie. Like, it's light. The story shouldn't be light, but it is, which is another negative. So if you watched it, you might have liked it a lot compared to me watching it. And I was like, not a great movie. But looking forward, I hope we are done with this stuff. But I don't know, Ray, because Gail Gadot's saying she's in talks to come back now. After a couple of days ago, she said she wasn't. Jason Momoa's in the end credits of the movie. As one of those Nexus points. So like
James Gunn just came out. Aquaman, he's gone. He's done.
So he was in the end credits. And as an explanation, basically So because they're crossing points that are things that happen no matter what universe in, they basically said that Aquaman is the same person no matter what universe they're in. So we'll see if they keep Aquaman.
No, he's out.
Um,
Did you read what James Gunn put out? I think it was today or yesterday.
no.
He said the Flash, like this Flash, Aquaman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and like say George Clooney, they're not DCU. They're a different universe. So that's he's saying Aquaman. He's done. Aquaman is done.
Well, yeah, because I think they want him to play Lobo. But anyways, I hope it's all done. I don't want I love Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I think she's amazing. Wonder Woman 3 flopped, or 2. It was 2. That movie flopped hard as hell.
Hey, that was because of damn director. I don't know what the hell she was doing.
And this movie's flopping. It's gonna lose them like $300 million. It's like at 130 million or whatever for the weekend. It was a long weekend. Yesterday was a holiday.
And they made nothing.
And there's no hype. There's no real hype. So people aren't gonna go watch it. So they'll probably lose 300 million on the movie. Hopefully that's enough to not bring.
A lot of people are boycotting Ezra Miller too. They should got.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason. I think that's the main reason. I think the main reason is because of Ezra Miller. And Warner Brothers has done the job. They don't use him to promote the movie. They don't let him talk to people. Like he don't really do interviews. Like even at the red carpet.
Straight up weirdo.
At the red carpet premiere, he had like a person with him that was like basically there to control him. It looked like she would like look at him. It was like super awkward. So hopefully that's it. I mean, James Gunn said I told Ray this because I don't really understand it, but he said Blue Beetle's the first character of the new DCU, but it's not the first movie. Superman Legacy will be the first movie. So I don't know if at the end of Blue Beetle, we're going to get some multiverse shenanigans where he's like moving to the real, the mainland DCU at the end of it or something. But
I think what he meant by that is Blue Beetle's all well and fine, but that movie was started before he came along. Now everything that comes out afterwards, he's going to oversee, double check, and ain't going to come out unless he says it's good. I think that's what he means.
I don't know how you like mix it in without explaining it, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. Blue Beetle comes out in August, so I'm super in for that.
Yeah, it's easy. He's there. He's saying, hey, this guy's here. He's a part of it, but everything going forward is gonna be a little different. You know what I'm saying? But he's just letting people know that, hey, he's gonna be around. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you do a Young Justice movie, gotta have the Blue Beetle, baby.
Dog. So we'll see. But yeah, that's my my review of the movie and Ray's take on without watching it on what his feelings are. Just wanted to get that kind of through, and have a conversation because I know I talked to a couple of you guys and said we would talk about it on a podcast. So there you are.
How do you help you?